People of Earth, Gig Ho!
Gig Ho! We play Gig Ho's!
Hi, I'm Marla Jo.
And I'm Willa. And we are the Gig Ho's. Who's in the chair today, Marla?
The fabulous Claudia Wigent.
Who knew?
Our first lady interview, which I'm so happy about. And I have a couple of little tidbits about Claudia, audience, just to let you know what kind of a wonderful person she is. You were in national symphonies while you were still in college.
As a sub.
As a sub? Well, still. That's
You were
still.
there. You were there.
I mean, it's hard to get in those things, period. You were in the Pit of the Wiz. Was it the original production?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. You were playing with Frank Sinatra Jr. on his show to celebrate Sinatra's 100th birthday.
Yes.
It's amazing things.
100th birthday?
Sinatra, you know, he was dead. I'm
Right,
assuming.
I was going to say. Wow, he lived longer than I thought.
Yeah.
It was actually, I think, his Frank Jr.'s last show because he passed away on that tour.
Oh, my gosh.
But he sounded amazing. I did it here in the New York area. It was fun.
And then, of course, the reason you're here is because you, like me and Marla Jo, have done a zillion club dates.
Yes,
oh, my
indeed.
God. She is one busy lady.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And I love the last minuteness of it, right? Like you get, quick, I need this. I need it now. I need it yesterday. Because you're dealing with clients a lot. And you're not just
All the time.
in the orchestra. You're dealing
Yeah.
with the public.
And you're dealing, in my business, you're dealing with churches because you're dealing with
Right.
brides and you're dealing with venues. You're dealing with musician of all faiths.
Well, are you like the contractor? Like they call you to get whoever else with you?
Yes, if they've heard us someplace where we're like the house people, they tend to say, I heard that, it was fabulous, that's what I want.
Right, right.
Then I need to work with the musicians who are in-house. I have to work with the place to make sure we're not stepping on toes.
Right, right.
And you have to know what is allowed liturgically in each diocese, etc. For instance,
Oh,
last
God.
Saturday it was a little church in Bridgehampton.
Uh-huh.
But you need to contact your minister, you need to contact your musician so that they get their bench fee, that
Right.
nobody feels badly about you coming in,
Right.
and that they're assured that you know all the ropes of a Catholic Mass and are not going to come
Wow.
in.
It's
Boy.
amazing. There's so many different layers depending on which little niche you're in. Like you're
Right.
in that.
We know nothing of this.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're putting on different hats all the
Yeah,
time. It's
yeah.
kind of exhausting. I am fortunate enough to be the house wedding person at St. Peter's Church in Manhattan on
Oh.
Barclay
Oh,
Street.
what a lovely place that is.
It is an exquisite church.
Yeah.
And deal with all of the brides and all of the grooms there. And we're doing some beautiful work, creative work.
So do you get bridezillas in terms of the music at the church?
No, not if you take care of it
Right.
from
That-
the inception.
Right. That's great.
Not if you educate, if you have the proper materials. People don't understand even if they have been in church all their life or,
Yeah.
they
what
can be
goes
there
into
every
it.
Sunday. They don't understand what goes into a nuptial mass, or they don't understand what are the cues that go into a
Right.
Catholic funeral,
Right. Ooh.
which I also get called to do.
Right. Well, wait, Marla, didn't you do a funeral recently?
No, I did memorials.
Oh, memorial.
Yeah.
I skipped right over the nursing home, right went to the memorial. There's better food.
That's right.
So having started out in a really upscale liturgical music family,
This is going to be my first question.
in a
How did you get started?
big Methodist church where there were 2,600 members and 6 choirs, and
Wow.
you're singing legitimate repertoire from the time you're 4.
Wow, was that you? You
That
were
was
singing
me.
too? Oh,
That was me. My dad
Wow.
was the music director there, and he conducted the local symphony.
Wow.
And he was the chairman of the fine arts division at a college in
Wow.
D.C.
Oh, my
So he was a
God.
busy guy, but there was this heavy background in liturgical music, which I fall back on constantly.
right. So did you start on harp or piano when you were a kid? Like, what was your first
I'm betting
instrument?
piano.
I
How many 7-year-olds are playing harps?
Well, I don't know.
I started by just listening to my parents teach. and my mom would buy me a book, and then I'd go figure it out on my own time.
On what?
Piano.
On piano.
And then there was always a huge volume of Cole Porter, a whole huge volume of Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yeah.
Every time my mom went to the music store to buy things for students,
buy a
she'd
book.
pick up whatever the latest show was.
Oh,
I have a collection of the strangest musicals.
yeah.
An Alice in Wonderland written by Steve Allen for
Really?
TV production,
Holy cow.
in which Telly Savalas played a cat.
Oh, my God. Oh, he played the
I'd
Cheshire
like to
Cat.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, nobody's ever heard of this. But anyway, it all walked through the house.
Because they
And-
both were teachers of music, right? Or your father was.
Well, and a
Performer.
conductor.
Father was an
Conductor.
really exquisite organist
Wow.
and pianist.
Oh, so you were really steeped in it.
clarinetist.
Yeah.
He was in the Navy band in D.C. in World War II.
Oh, my lordy.
He came from Chicago. He was the organist at North Shore Baptist there and the first chair clarinetist with the Grant Park Symphony.
Wow.
So he was.
Oh, my God. You're so legit.
Yes,
brothers and sisters that also play music?
I'm the youngest of 5. I am Opus 5.
Wow.
But do the others play?
Yeah.
I mean, it's genetic, but it's environmental. I mean,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Sure. I just wanted to say one thing about the books of music. I still have it. My mother had it. It's bigger than normal sheet music size.
Yeah.
It's beautifully bound. It's got black silk screen and rose-colored binder thing. It's all of Gershwin's arrangements for his. You have it? The same book?
Yeah, I think
Wow.
so. And I got the Rodgers and Hart one.
Right, like that. Their arrangements, their
Yeah.
piano arrangements of the
Their
song.
piano arrangements,
amazing.
and my mother would play, and we would sing, and then you'd just go, well, this is my time, and I learned how to read music under teaching,
Yeah.
music lessons have begun or whatever. I taught myself to do this, and I'm going to poke around at this until I
Right.
get it.
But I mean, if you ran into a wall, you'd go ask mom or dad, "What's up with this?"
Yeah, but they were tired
busy.
then. I was a caboose child.
All right.
and you wanted to look, Ma, look, I figured it out, right? I mean, you
I
have
just
that
was
feeling?
happy to figure it out.
You just
Yeah.
wanted to know.
That's
good. Yeah.
It was the language of your family in a way, right?
It kind of is. I'm the person who goes to sleep playing music
In
with
your
my
head.
teeth arranged as a keyboard in my head. It's
Oh, like that chess.
it's
chess
horrible. It's
movie.
ridiculous.
What was it? The Queen's Gambit.
The Queen's Gambit, yeah.
It's kind of nutty.
Yeah.
But there was never anything under stress. As a matter of fact, I would say until
didn't
my father
force you.
said, write a
Right.
letter to Santa Claus and tell him you'd like an Irish harp for Christmas. And
Oh,
you
That's what
basically
put the harp in your.
that's what brought the harp in. I would not have
So
chosen
your
that.
father thought you should play the harp.
He needed a harpist.
Wow.
He was tired of hiring harpists who
Right.
were
Right. Not great.
not great and
so interesting.
charged a lot.
Right. So how old were you when you asked Santa for a harp?
I asked Santa for a harp when I was 9, and the teacher showed up on the 26th of December. And
That's great.
I did not like the teacher.
No, I bet you didn't. Was it a man or a woman?
It was a male, and
And you were a little
He was-
girl.
Well, they bought you the harp. You better learn how to play this harp.
you're just supposed to do what you're supposed to do. I had no particular desire to play the harp. Many
Right.
people are drawn to the instrument. It's like,
Yeah.
I love it.
yeah.
I have a
Right, it's
colleague in the
special.
business, another harpist, and for her daughter's 3rd birthday, she bought her a little pink Salvi harp. And the little girl was so thrilled. It's like, I was
Not
never
you.
that little girl. If somebody bought me a Zabaleta album, it's like, I really would like a Beach Boys album.
Right. Yeah. So
But you complied, though. I mean,
You were
Here
just
you
supposed
are.
to. You were supposed to make good grades,
right.
have decent manners.
Right.
You sang in all the choirs.
Wow.
You were supposed to be able to sight read, so that
Right.
you just needed
just
to
did
do
it.
that in the
Yeah.
family.
Right. Wow.
And you played your instrument, and you didn't practice obsessively, and nobody treated you like a prodigy.
Right.
You just went, okay, you're in this bedroom practicing,
Right.
and you're in your bedroom practicing.
All 5 of you were
Yeah.
in your bedroom practicing.
And-
so what
and-
did your siblings play?
Pam is violinist. Ada was a wonderful pianist. She was a clarinetist and going into bassoon, but she was wrestling with my brother Donald and ruptured a kidney when she fell and landed on something. And this was a long time ago when the surgeries weren't so magical. So that
Right.
ended the big blowing.
Huh.
But she was a terrific pianist, lovely singer. Everybody sang.
Right. So like the Von Trapp family.
Yeah, without the kitsch. Without the twee.
Right.
Donald was a wonderful cellist. Coral, another violinist.
No
Both
one
Pam
played-
and Coral were, all-state concert mistresses in
Right,
their
wow.
year. And
But no one played rock and roll guitar. You didn't have like one
No.
rebellious, person,
nope.
because it was
I'm-
all just follow through.
That's you.
Yes,
Were
but
you
I
the black
wasn't.
sheep?
I wasn't rebellious.
Yeah.
I had my classical chops and did what I needed to do.
So obviously you went to university.
Went to
right?
American University, majored in harp, double majored in voice, actually.
Do you ever sing on your gigs now?
No,
No.
because it's hard to play harp.
I bet.
I'm either singing or I'm playing.
Well, that's what I mean.
And I'm a skilled choral singer. I'm a
I
really
didn't know you were a
excellent
singer.
reader.
I didn't have any
Yeah,
idea.
I'm rather skilled.
I bet. I have no doubt about that.
So-
So let me ask you, how'd you end up in club dates?
Good question.
I bet you have a good answer too.
I was doing the whiz. I married the bass player. I had a little girl. People were not having kids in Manhattan in the 70s. It was kind of depressing. Things were kind of gross.
Yeah. Where'd you live?
98th and Broadway.
Oh.
12th floor.
And
above
then-
the Hunan balcony.
90th then was not so thrilling.
It was fine.
Yeah. Oh well, you're kind of near
You
Columbia
just-
there, right?
Yeah, you'd tuck a pamper in one pocket and a $5 bill in the other one, and just didn't carry a purse if you were out walking the kid.
Right.
Decided it was more fun to be with her than it was to be counting rests and embroidering in the pit, because you'd memorize the book in 2 weeks, and
Right. And then you're there every night.
8 shows a week.
Yeah.
It was hard to get a good, consistent babysitter that wanted to do the weird hours.
And the bass player was still gigging?
Dave was still gigging, and at one point it was also hard to get credit if you were a musician at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
So if you wanted to buy a house or anything,
Right.
Yeah, you had
to really
finagle.
finagle. So
Yeah.
I said, Dave, you've been working for the Schubert organization for X amount of time. If we're going to consider buying a house, we should consider doing it now.
Right.
And that's when we moved to Teaneck. Then I had a little boy. That was 4 years later. As
And you're still
Eve was-
working on Broadway at that
No,
point? Oh.
I left the show.
She didn't like doing it.
Yeah.
She wanted to be with the baby.
Well, you wanted to be with your kids, right?
I wanted to be there. It was far more interesting than I ever anticipated it was
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah, I bet.
And she was alert and as interesting
Yeah.
as you could imagine. And I was pretty young, but it's like, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
This is the best thing.
Sure.
I have no regrets about that. So
Why should you? So
I was working my way back towards things. It's like, okay, I got a church music directing job. That
Right.
was fun. I was teaching some piano students.
and you
that
could do
was
that
fun.
during the day.
It would work around my kids.
Right.
It was local. And Dave was still doing shows, and people went, hey, isn't your wife a harpist? And he went, yeah. And so the next thing you know, I'm starting to club date on harp.
Right.
And I
Do you
went
remember the
with
first office you worked for?
Barry Herman
Barry Herman.
in Jersey.
Yeah.
But I was also, what else was I doing? Oh, I was playing at SPQR on Friday nights down in Little Italy.
Wow.
What is
One
that?
night a week. It was a nice restaurant down there,
restaurant.
and they had a harp that they kept there, and I'd run
That-
in and do that on Friday nights. And
Doesn't
that was fun.
SPQR stand for some Latin phrase or something?
Senate and People of Rome.
Right.
So I was doing that, and I got tossed somehow on a true club date,
Which
where they
was-
just went, no music, we're all playing tunes, you're surrounded by a lot of violins.
Uh-huh.
And I went, oh, okay,
Right.
I know this song. I know this song.
Oh, that's great. And like,
I know this song.
did you know this song because you had played them on piano for fun?
Yep.
Right. So like standards and stuff like that?
Yep, but I had never bothered to memorize them
Right.
or anything like
But
that.
you kind of knew how they went in your head.
I
right?
could pull it out. I realized I had that flexibility on harp, which I'd never really thought about.
Right.
And then you start working that, and you're doing things with groups, and you're
Right.
doing singles, and you're going, well, it's very liberating to have it all memorized. And the next thing you know, you've got 7 hours of repertoire memorized.
Right.
You're still young, you still look good, you're still skinny. Got divorced, so
yeah.
you need to make the money.
Right. And you had the kids?
Yeah, I had Eve and Tim.
So did
gigging.
you feel like club dates, you could make more steady money than other kinds of gigs?
And I liked it better. It was less dull.
Right.
And I love to dress up.
Yeah, you do.
And
Audience, she's wearing this beautiful, beautiful dress and boots.
it's just a dress.
Ah, yes, see, yeah. We're not in dresses.
I like dresses.
We should take photos. We should have that on the website.
Yeah, we totally should. So,
And I like the characters. I like the variety, and I like not being in the same spot 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
In an orchestra, you count a lot of rests.
right,
And then the orchestra unzips,
right,
and you play your harp thing.
right. And then you wait another 20
And
minutes.
then
for
you
the
wait,
next.
and then you're counting 363,
Right.
2,
Over and over,
3,
day after
4,
day.
day after day. And although it's wonderful to play in an orchestra, it's wonderful
Not-
to be surrounded by that sound. That's a culture all its own.
And not to do it 10 times a week.
I like this better.
Yeah, and also,
And I always
I don't
have.
blame you.
not like being a piano player in an orchestra. There's a lot more to do,
Yeah.
right? You
But
have
even
your
still,
moment.
it's like the same place, like what she's saying.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Right.
always going somewhere new. There's always new people.
Yes. As
And
Marla
new
likes,
music. As
as Marla likes to say,
what do I like to say?
well, you get a gig.
oh, you get a gig, and you lose a gig on the same day. It's always that constant thing. Oh, I got a gig. Oh, I lost a gig.
Yeah.
You know, because it's
Yeah.
Things come in, things go out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
by now we're
taken-
used to it.
It's definitely taken me my whole career to get to a place where I'm like, okay, got a gig, lost it. Sometimes people call and then they don't follow through, or you
or they
get
get tired of you.
or you get a call at the last minute to go do a
Yeah.
thing. So
And every dog has his day, as that old
Yeah,
expression
that is
goes.
really true.
You can be the it person for one thing 1 minute,
Right.
and suddenly you're not. And
Right.
I understand that.
well, you
People
remember
need to move on.
You remember the 4 cycles of a club date musician's life?
No, let's hear it.
So it's who is Claudia Wigent? Get me Claudia Wigent. Get me a young Claudia Wigent. Who is Claudia Wigent? Right?
I feel lucky that there's still a Get Me Claudia
Me
Wigent.
too. Me too. I know we all do. We all do. I know.
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have hit this point and still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all 3 of us.
Yeah. We're rocking.
We're
I
rock and
believe.
rolling.
I believe we have skill sets,
We do. That's very true.
and it's hard to get around that fact. And when you need them, you need them.
That's right.
But the big hits, like you're reproducing them on harp. That's what I find so amazing.
It's really cool
that
what
you're
you
doing
do,
that pop
yeah.
music. I can do Bad Bunny on the harp. I said,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
A lot of that is thanks to my side guys too. I mean, it's way more fun if you've got wildly hip violinists and stuff who are
Already thinking that way.
masterful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
know the stuff, know how it phrases. And on the other hand, sometimes I'll get them on a job and they'll go, "What is this?" And I go, "Well, this is blah 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 blah," and
Right.
it was from blah 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 from the last Bridgerton, like the subset
Oh,
from Queen
right.
Charlotte.
Yeah, they
and
did that a lot.
composed it for that, and
Now that
you
I think
know.
of it, I think Bridgerton did a lot to promote that kind of.
they did. And yet
the
we've been
string thing.
we've been doing that music like that for ages.
So they probably got it from all you guys
Yeah.
that have been doing that, because I know that's been a thing for like at least the last 2 decades. In my experience
Certainly.
when I'm doing ceremonies.
They couldn't get Claudia Wigent, so let's copy Claudia Wigent.
I mean,
That's number 5.
You're not hearing it a lot with harp, but if you go gander around on YouTube, you'll find all kinds of harpists who are doing all kinds of contemporary stuff.
I have heard that. And violinists.
It's
too.
harpy sounding, and I just object to being harpy sounding.
Right.
I like the harp to be way punchier, but everybody hears it
So
the
you're
way
a
they
rock
hear
harpist.
it. I like it to sound like the original.
Right.
I like it to punch like the original.
Like the original song.
My daughter jokes with me and goes, "If you go in a fitting room, you hear Madonna on muted trumpets, and it's just wrong." and my opinion is,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this on harp
Right.
that sounds like World of Tinkle.
Yeah, airy fairy. Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to hear it that way.
In general, some club dates are like, the horn lines are playing every line, every hooky line,
Yeah.
catchy
That's
line.
right. If there is a hook, all
it's like,
the horns
really?
are
Do
playing
I have to
it.
hear that on saxophone
Yeah.
all night long?
Well, my favorite one of those is Celebration. Okay. Well, but that's the thing. The horns actually play.
But that's good. That's a good
but
one.
But that's not what the horns play.
No, what do they play?
They play what everyone else is playing. Which the bass is already playing.
Right,
and since
right.
it's already playing, so they figured they'll play that too.
And the
And
horn
my
players
brother-
get stuck a lot of times now because there aren't horn lines on anything. It's
Right.
like, what the heck am I supposed
So they
to
just
play?
find
So
a
they play
hook.
the wrong thing
Yeah.
Right.
instead.
My brother would always be screaming across the band saying, "No, don't play that, play this."
I know, right? Signed,
funny.
sealed, delivered. They're always going bam, 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 bam.
I know,
Really? On horns?
So true.
Really?
Oh my
So-
god.
so-
By
we
the
feel
way,
you.
I'm married to Stafford Horn, a horn player, who says hello to both of
Oh,
you.
I
thank
love
you.
Stafford.
He says, I do know Willa Basson. It's just been 30 years.
Yeah, I know. It's
Stafford's
so funny.
wonderful.
You ever
They're
run into
wonderful.
somebody on the bandstand and you're like, when did we play together? And we're just sitting there all gig long trying to figure out.
Seems like
Was
yesterday.
it Bethel and Woodmere? Was it?
And whose band?
Yeah.
Because horn players, a lot of times, are working for a busy band leader all the time. They're working for the same office.
Right.
Less so now.
Less so now.
But string players and harp players, we float. We're-
Right. That's right.
We're there for everybody, and if you tell
And you
anybody
always
you'll
were.
be exclusive, you're shooting
Forget it.
yourself in the foot.
Yeah. You guys are the ultimate freelancers, actually.
Yeah, no one has enough work for it to keep, even in the heydays, to
Right.
keep a harpist
Right.
working all weekend.
So-
Nobody did, right?
And we did. I think my record was I did 14 gigs in 1 week.
Oh, my
That's-
lordy.
That's
But
good.
somewhere
pretty
between child 3 and child 4.
So let me ask you a question. Do you have any bad weather stories with your? Because like the harp is, I would imagine, especially susceptible to like bad weather in a
Yeah.
tent party.
All of it.
So you got one that you have in mind that was either fabulous or a disaster or ridiculous in some way.
You try to protect the instrument as much as you can. You also try to get to the gig because you're being relied on to get to the gig.
Right.
A lot of times that gig is somebody's wedding.
And yeah, their ceremony.
Well, yeah.
We had a fairly spectacular 3 feet of snow one time.
Uh-huh.
And when they were still doing a lot of Sephardic weddings at East Midwood Jewish
Oh,
Center.
I remember that well. Yeah.
And that was at that time where a big chunk of my bread was being buttered. Stafford and I were both doing it. We dug out a parking spot
in front of the temple.
around the block from the temple.
Right.
It was the best you could do.
So did he bring a shovel with him?
We brought shovels. If it's going to snow, I bring shovels.
yeah.
And we carried that harp end to end. I had on Sporto boots that went up to my knees,
Like
under
waders,
a gown.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a path to walk on, holding the
No,
harp.
No.
we were
In the
each
snow.
we were each carrying an end of the harp
Right.
and
the snow.
stomping
Wow.
through that
Oh my God.
with that instrument and
Wow.
got into the temple.
I will never complain again.
Yeah, I know.
It was.
I
it
mean,
was
we have a
nasty.
lot of gear, but you have a harp, you know, and a lot of times you're by yourself, right? I mean, you have a wheelie thing that wheels
Yeah.
it around.
Yeah,
But still, what do you do when there are stairs? Like when there's 2 flights of stairs?
I try to avoid it. The last hideous I had.
Yeah.
Want to hear hideous gigs?
Oh, good. Tell me.
I actually have a client who's ended up being a longtime client. His wedding was at La Panetiere in Rye, which I believe is now closed. And Stafford was on the job, and I had a violinist, and we got the harp carried up the stairs. Okay, they were steep, but when I looked at it coming down, I went, oh, there was an overhang in the stairs, and it wasn't going to work with the harp coming down, and I could see us both ending up in traction.
Yeah.
So from the crouching that we were going to have to do with that harp.
Yeah.
And I went, I will dolly it, stand below me, get ready to catch, get
my
ready to do
God.
what you've got. It was about 20 stairs. And it was a chilly May night. So fortunately I had on tights
Right.
because I ended up having to dolly the harp down
Between your legs.
between my legs on my butt. Once I got halfway down and my dress was up around my shoulders.
You win.
was
You
like-
win with that story.
Unbelievable.
I'm going down the stairs on my ass going, it's a
Like-
good thing I'm wearing tights.
Like sliding
under a black lacy dress.
Like
Oh, my
sliding
God.
down from stair to
yes,
stair.
and going step,
Bump, bump,
butt,
bump,
step,
step.
Because
butt.
otherwise it
Wow.
would hit the overhang.
Would
Yeah.
have hit the overhang.
Wow.
Sometimes coming down is different than going up.
Yeah.
Other horrifying night, the Oren Sands Foundation.
What is that?
It's on Nassau Street. old historic synagogue, but turned into a venue. Don't take a harp upstairs.
Oh, God. What happened?
Downstairs is scarier than going up. You can sit there with 3 men just going.
Is it a really narrow?
It's very steep and it's narrow and it's dangerous.
Right, because it's like 150 years old or something. Yeah.
So that ended up with the 2 men just watching me
Do the same thing?
carefully step by step, gritting my teeth.
So your butt takes a
I
beating.
I will not work once I want to done a venue like that. I just say no now.
Yeah.
Because you like try to check out logistics before you take a job.
I try to check out logistics,
That's
and you're
smart.
gonna get
you have
some
to
stares.
with a harp.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to.
I avoid private houses generally.
Right.
Because turning in doorways and
Right,
that,
right,
we
right.
thought you'd play up there on the balcony.
Oh, yeah, they always do, right?
I
Yeah.
don't think I want to.
People don't think about the logistics. Like, so you must have played many. See, in one way, when there's a gig on the beach, you're in better shape than we are because you don't need amplification, right?
But she doesn't
Oh,
want sand in her.
I amplify all the time.
Oh, you do?
All the time.
So you have to bring your harp and your amp.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you're maybe worse off than we are.
I bring gear.
We all have gear.
And nice shoes, too.
I was going into the Metropolitan Club last night with the gig bag and
Yeah.
pushing the harp and shoving it up the ramp of the parking garage on 61st. It's across
Right.
from the Pierre. And
Right.
I had a Bose S1 in another bag strapped across the other shoulder.
Were you wearing
and
it like a backpack?
just one on each shoulder,
Right, yeah.
one in
yeah.
each bag.
Wow.
And
So what's the
what I do.
weirdest occasion that someone asked you to play a harp at? Got ya.
the things I find strangest are when they go, it's our first anniversary, and we're going to revisit on a weeknight the ballroom of the plaza.
Oy.
Just the 2 of us. And we would
Oh,
like you
that's
to
where they
come
got
and
married?
We're going to sneak in.
no,
Yeah.
the ballroom
buy
wasn't
it.
being used that night.
Right.
They'll buy it. They'll have
They'll
a
buy
dinner
it.
served in the middle of the room.
Just for the 2 of them.
Just for the 2 of them. And we would like you to come and play.
Oh my God. For how long?
An
The
hour?
length of the dinner can be 3-4 hours.
Oh my God. And it's just you.
It's just me.
Oh my God.
I have also done that in smaller settings and smaller rooms.
Wow.
I have done it. I have done an intimate dinner at Danielle in his office, which is a ladder that overlooks the kitchen,
Oh my God.
where
How do you get up
they
there?
set up. He actually took an end of it because I looked at it and went,
No way.
I'm too afraid.
Yeah. Did they feed you at such a place?
No,
Oh, bummer.
I don't need to be fed on the job. I don't expect it.
I know, but Danielle,
It's great, but but he was so kind and
Oh.
saw that the harp got safely up there, and he was there himself,
Right.
and they got it down. It's like I can't.
It's
I
a lot
can't.
of strange gigs that you've done. I mean,
Yeah.
like the people have this delusion
Harpist,
about
so
the
elegant.
harpist, you
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
Let's just make her walk those steps.
It's
We don't
everything.
care.
Everything from massive to
Tiny.
real small. And
Too bad you can't get like a miniature fold-up harp, you know, like for gigs like
I'm looking for the inflatable model.
that would be cool.
My
Yeah.
inflatable harp. My inflatable harp.
Yeah. It's so funny because I guess by the nature of your instrument, the things that people imagine you doing are kind of more elegant than the kind of stuff we do on a regular basis. For instance, you said you were up in a balcony, right?
Yeah.
A long time ago, a full band, we were up in a balcony at this place called the Riviera in Massapequa. They had like a crow's nest up there that the band played in.
I have seen the Riviera. I never played there. I mean, I remember seeing it.
There's one in Massapequa, there was one in Coney Island.
Yep.
Yeah, I played both of them. But this one, it was a hot August day, and the drummer, he was so hot, he was sweating, and he said, my brother was the band leader, he goes, it's so hot, and I'm sweating through my pants. And my brother said, take your pants off. We're up here. No one's going to see you. So he took his pants off. He's sitting there in a suit and tie, but playing in his underwear. And then, of course, the bride and groom come up to talk to us. And we all formed a phalanx in front of the drummer. Oh, yeah, sure, we could do, whatever it is you want to hear. Oh, yeah, no problem,
RC was probably happy to take his pants off.
He was thrilled to take his pants off, but not so thrilled when the bride and groom came walking up the stairs. But I mean, I'm just juxtaposing. There you are in Daniel playing an intimate dinner for two. There we are in the Riviera with, his pants off.
Pants off.
Wow.
You were asking about difficult situations
Yes.
to get the harp into. Once one of my sons was still playing oboe and was gigging with us, and before he moved to Colorado, because he's a big climber and a skier, but he's always really strong, we had to play in the balcony of the Armory.
Park Avenue Armory?
Yeah, the stairs going up there. But he
yeah.
picked up the harp and just like,
Boy.
like a mountain goat.
Wow.
So,
That's great. How often
Miss
can
him.
you have him along?
it was good while it lasted.
Yeah.
Your parents should have thought of that before they told you to play the harp in your future.
No,
Carrying
he
that
needed
thing
a
around.
harpist. He needed a harpist.
It's good to be strong. It's good to be able
Yeah.
to lift your axe. It's good to be able to handle it.
Well, we do that all the time.
Yeah.
People are constantly. I was playing with the Irish band the other night, and this guy was trying to insist that he would,
Yes, please don't.
Right. I
Please
mean,
don't touch.
I can get all my stuff on the hand truck, but he's like, "Oh, I'll just carry it." I said, "No, really, please don't." "No, really, I'll just do it." "No, please don't." And it's this big guy, and he's kind of drunk, and you don't want to piss him off.
It's the
but-
last thing you want.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Last
the
thing.
idea of congestion pricing. So we'll all take the subway, and you take the subway with your harp.
yeah.
We're totally left out of the the loop
right.
of getting a pass. Oh no, take mass transportation. Yeah.
Sure. With
Sure.
all our gear. Yeah.
And,
It
and the
just
Queen
means-
subway is 4 levels down.
Yeah. Well, they have the elevators.
Oh, the elevators.
Because those are so accessible and work so reliably.
Are you in Manhattan a lot, or it's everywhere now?
Less so since the pandemic.
Right.
Before that, it was. Yeah.
Things moved out during the pandemic, and they kind of stayed out.
Yeah.
And weddings in the summer, especially July, August, September,
Mm-hmm.
all want to be out in the hinterlands now.
Right. Yeah. They're upstate. They're
Yeah.
way out in deep
They
Jersey.
are.
Jersey.
And
Deep dark Jersey.
no, not Jersey.
I love that deep dark Jersey.
Deep dark Jersey.
Well, she lives in Jersey. So.
Yeah. So how about this? Have you ever been in a situation where you felt in danger?
Not to the extent that I could not handle it.
Well, there's a tale in there, isn't there?
Danger physically, danger
Well, there's 3 ways.
threatened by a human, threatened.
Threatened by a human, threatened by conditions,
Okay.
threatened by just somebody banging into you and your harp, you in fear of it getting knocked over or you getting knocked over into it or anything like that. Because we certainly have those stories of drunk guests. It happened to me the other night. Drunk guest came up onto the bandstand, grabbed my mic, and wanted to sing harmony on Margaritaville,
Yeah.
Put his lips all over my microphone. And then my brother goes, "What do you want to sing?" I said, "Nothing on that microphone."
Nothing ever again.
Not on that thing. So like that.
No, I mean, do people want to touch the harp all the time?
Yes,
'Cause
and
they're enamored with it.
I tell them no, and I am
like a
I
sergeant.
am not nice.
Let's hear an
If
example.
you are going
Oh,
to
can I
come,
touch that?
If you're going to come, I will be nice, unless I think I need to be not nice.
Right. So can you give
And
us
then-
a concrete example of a situation like that?
Every once in a while, you get someplace where there's somebody that just thinks, "I'm going to touch it.
Right.
I'm going to touch that thing."
Yeah, more than anything, a harp.
And-
They want
Yeah,
to touch
yeah.
it.
I just want to, and I will get up from behind the harp. I will stand. I will put my 5 feet 3 inches in front of the harp between me and them, and get in their face
Right.
and say, "I said no."
All right. Like a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's
I
right.
and they know I mean it,
And then they back
and then
off.
I will watch them.
Leave.
And then I will watch them the rest of the evening.
Right.
Because they'll try to, sneak
Because
by.
sometimes they will try.
Yeah.
You're also in situations where the dancing is wild.
Yeah.
And you're trying to protect it. And it's like, if I need to stand in front of the harp for the whole dance set,
Right.
you
Oh,
know,
we've done that.
to
right?
keep somebody from wanging into it, I will. Usually they don't have ill intentions.
No,
No,
they've
of
just
course
been
not.
touched.
It's excitable,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, I knew what I was getting into. And once in a while, you got to stand in front of the harp.
It
and you just
reminds
do
me
it.
of that scene in Lord of the Rings where Ian McKellen is fighting that monster in the cave and go, "You shall not pass."
Yeah. Yeah, I can have a pretty good head of righteous indignation about it.
I bet.
You have to. You have to develop that and kind of push them back on you.
Well, you
know?
just brought the cutest toy to the job.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
everybody kind of naturally wants to touch it.
Yeah.
I know that kids that are about 1.5 or 2 just can't stand it.
Right.
They look
They have
at
to
it.
touch it, yeah.
There's an attraction to it. It's an innocent attraction.
Right.
If they want to put their hands on the bass strings, that's okay.
You'll let them.
And then I will say,
That's
okay.
it.
Where's mommy and daddy?
Yeah, usually mom, and they'll
there.
say, is it okay?
Right.
And you can see in the kids' eyes that it's
Right.
like, no, they really, really want to look.
Right. And it could kind
And-
of change their life a little,
Let them look.
Yeah. So no drunk guest ever came by and like fell into your harp and knocked it and you over?
I see them coming.
Oh, yeah.
I see them coming, and I'm so
Yeah.
protective of the instrument.
Yeah, you have to be.
Because you have to be, but you also know that those situations are going to come up, and
Right.
they don't appall me. They don't shock
That's
me.
the downside of the business that we're in, as opposed to
Yeah.
where you started. You're not dealing with that in a Broadway pit or in a symphony or something.
You deal
Unless
with
the
things.
conductor is drunk.
Yeah.
You can deal with things falling on your harp in a Broadway pit or something.
Really?
Stuff happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow. What
Things-
falls on your harp in a Broadway pit?
Things get dropped, and things can come flying off the stage.
Oh, right.
People can come flying off
Wow.
the stage.
Has that ever happened?
I can't say that it has,
Right.
but it's come close enough.
Underwear. Being
It's like
thrown on
there's hotel room keys a la Tom Jones,
Wow.
and they're not looking for the
Wow.
harpist.
Oh, yeah.
You know that if you do this kind of work, there's going to be a certain amount of stuff like that.
Right. So did you ever get on a gig where either a band leader berated you or you realized too late that you really weren't the right person for the job or anything like that?
I've always managed to fit, which
yeah?
was what my harp teacher said to me early on. She went, I will throw you in anywhere. I know you will always land on your feet,
Wow.
which was a supreme compliment
Right.
because she was a fine, fine player. Didn't do what I do, but she always said, I will throw you in anywhere and I know you will land on your feet.
And I guess on some level, because you're not in a club date situation, you're not holding down the fort except for when you are, but then you're in your element, right? So if they're playing a pop tune, you can just sort of slide in whatever way
I'm
you want
okay,
to.
and now I lead that. And I'm sympathetic to others who are coming in who may
Right.
be feeling their way.
Yeah.
Because somebody's always feeling their way with something.
Right. Well, that's so nice of you because.
And if you
know,
can nurture somebody like that and bring them along, then they're your people.
Right. Right.
And people did that for us.
Yes.
Of course.
we
Not
owe
everyone,
a
but-
we owe a great debt to a lot of the old guys, and with one exception, all of that older generation of people were very kind to me.
Right.
One exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an older violinist
Oh.
who just said something colossally nasty.
Yeah. And what did you do?
I mean, like, why did he say it? I mean, was he threatened by your talent or that you were
No.
a woman or?
He had given a really unclear direction, and there was a modulation.
Oh, it was a musical mistake.
It was a musical mistake. And instead of just, I have a fantastic singer I hired. She does many things with me, Carrie, but she's just a beautiful, legit singer, but can sing in a variety of styles, but she's exquisite. And she said, "You're a generous musician to me. If I make a mistake, you don't look at me as if I had just insulted your mother in the worst way possible." And I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that meant a lot to me
Right.
that she said that.
But this guy did that.
Yes.
Right.
It's
he
like
actually
there
said
was-
something to you, like nasty.
He said, you effed me up.
Right. Oh, like it was
It's like
your fault.
like it was my fault, and I was trying really hard to please.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always try very hard to please.
I'm sure that's true. So, can you remember the club date that was just stellar in your mind that you'll never forget because it was so wonderful?
I have had many, and I have them weekly.
Really?
I
Good for
am
you.
honestly,
That's awesome.
I have thrilling experiences every week.
Want to bring one up?
On the wedding front, a few weeks ago, we were at St. Peter's,
Yeah.
had a Jewish groom, Catholic bride,
Right.
and they were both very artistic
Oh,
people.
I love that actually.
Interesting and artistic people. And because I knew I had Carrie, I was able to say, there is this beautiful song written by Benji Ellen Schiller, who teaches the cantors at Hebrew Union.
Wow.
It's called Zedodi. It's in half in Hebrew and half in English. I think it would be right for you. And we were able to just paint that wedding up and down, every moment of it. So that it was really customized for them.
Right.
And she
And they
was
so
exquisite,
appreciated
and we
that.
were amazing. We had one October 7th where the bride is a graphic designer, the groom is a clever young thing. We did music from the Studio Ghibli movies
Oh,
by Joe Hisashi.
oh yeah, those movies are so amazing.
Bride danced down the aisle to Merry-Go-Round of Life.
Oh wow.
But we did it really beautifully with the harp and the violin and with Stafford on flute.
Wow.
And it was really lovely. I really think about everything. I want and I seek after those moments.
Right. So you really get to paint with an artistic brush.
I do,
Yeah.
and I have a nasty habit of doing that even if I'm playing 3 hours straight without stopping for a dinner last night. And it's only me.
You know, I gotta say, I mean,
Still
you're doing
try and
this,
do it.
You're in the same field that we are, but what you're doing at that level,
Yeah.
with your knowledge of all this different
quite
high
unique.
quality music and
Yeah, yeah.
you know church music.
We're
and-
jealous.
well, I'm not. I could never do that. I got asked to do the flower duet like a week ago, and I did an Ave Maria. I was able to do Ave Maria, but I had to relegate somebody else to play the flower duet. It was for 2 opera singers. It
Yeah.
was just like a lot of music, and I just said, I'm not going to do that. But like, this is like every day for you.
Right. That's
You
great.
know, that
It's
level
every
of music.
day, and then it's Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's-
that's so great.
That's fine, too.
Because you really just enjoy doing it. Like you said, you're elevating experiences
Right.
every day at this point in our careers. That's awesome. you
And I
know?
mean, we're always attempting that too. I mean, whatever kind of gig, I know it's true for Marla too, whatever gig I'm doing, I'm always attempting to be as
Right.
excellent
Yes.
as possible on it, you know.
And then there are things
Then
in
you
the
got
way
to deal
of
with
that.
everyone else in the band, you know, and what
The
level
venue,
they're.
you know, all
The
kinds of
venue,
things.
yeah.
You
The
try
weather.
to have as much control over it as you can. You try to control the experience as best you can.
Right. And then you have to let go.
And then you have to let go, and then you have to laugh.
Yes, and we laugh plenty.
And we do. We wisecrack. We
Oh,
do.
yes. Yes. Again, that moment when Tanya said, "Oh, you want me to read music now?" I mean, that was just so great. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the last question, which I ask everybody, which is, so I'm sure when you started playing the harp, you didn't imagine for an instant that you'd be playing Celebration on a wedding in Cedarhurst, right?
I really didn't want to play the harp.
Right.
I would not have done my practicing had they not said, okay, and we'll take you to your ballet class today.
Before I get to that last question, do you love your harp now?
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad
But
to hear it.
it's a means. It is a means to an end. It is my means of musical expression.
Right, right. What was the first job you got paid for?
11.
And it was?
Probably $10 for playing at the Presbyterian Church across the street. But I got my first orchestra job when I was 12.
Wow.
Playing Amal and the Night Visitor. My older sister was at Shenandoah Conservatory majoring in music ed, and she was pianist and a voice person.
Wow.
They were doing Amal. They didn't have a harpist.
And there you go.
And she went, my sister plays harp.
Right. So boom, you were in it right
I got
away.
a fairly nice check.
You're
And
like
it was-
you're like royalty, musical royalty. I'm in the same room with you.
Yeah, I
Glenn.
know.
It's like,
We got $10 for our first gigs, but we were about 10 years older than you.
I got 5.
Yeah.
Well, then I got 125.
Wow.
Which-
Killing.
I know. All
right, but
I
here's-
was there for a whole weekend, though.
Here's the question. So what were you, 12 when you first started?
Yeah, I'd only had my full-size... I'd only had a pedal harp for a year.
Right, but
and
at
that's
what-
a hard piece to pedal.
How old do you think you were when you realized you could make a living at it?
Probably high school.
Okay. So now, you here now, what would you tell that high schooler about do it, don't do it, what you should do different, what you should do the same, any kind of advice like that? And or to some other high schooler out there right now who would like to be a professional musician, what would you tell them?
I would say take gigs, throw yourself in situations that are a little over your head and try and step up to it.
Ah.
Don't baby yourself.
Good advice.
It's based on my experience. Don't go, I'm going to get a master's degree.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try and get a job. I think it's the worst idea.
Good advice in any field.
I
Yeah.
think you have to get your boots on the ground. And it gives you confidence.
Right.
And it lets you know if you should go get that master's degree.
Right. But once you've actually gotten some gigs and done some gigs.
Yeah, and I don't care what kind of gigs they are.
Right.
They can be legit gigs or non-legit.
Yeah, I mean, these
This is
days.
my life in non-legit.
And isn't it amazing, like even other harpists, like you've created, and as we have, our own little path, our own little road.
Yeah.
We did this, we did that. And other harpists had a different road that they
Yeah.
traveled, right? Because yours is unique. You started in this end of it.
Liturgical music.
Yeah, and then you transferred over to this. And
But just had all that richness of family background and a diversity of music in the house and around me all the time.
Yeah,
mean-
that's huge. And I'm
So
sure
you
it-
can
yeah.
pick and pack, and enough time alone that was unstructured
Right, which doesn't exist now.
yeah, it was
to
awesome.
listen and just be in your bedroom and keep and wear out an LP.
Can you imagine someone
I
like
did.
you only has Spotify and wants to learn the harp and is trying to play the harp channel on Spotify?
What's the record you wore white?
I didn't listen to harp records.
No, I'm saying, but you said you wore records white. Do you remember? Because I had one particularly.
Which one for you, Willa?
Blue.
Oh,
Joni
yeah.
Mitchell.
I wore out a lot of Backrack. I wore out
yeah.
Carole King.
Yeah.
I wore out Carpenters. I wore out Rachmaninoff's Second Symphony.
That is so the best. I
I wore out all the Brahms symphonies.
know. Right.
I wore out Carmina Burana.
It's a good spread there.
I wore out A Medieval Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Well, that explains it.
I
'cause you
wore
had
out
pop
Alan
music.
Sherman comedy albums.
Oh, God.
Hello, Mata.
I can
Hello,
still
Mata.
sing all the songs and all
Let's
the
do it.
lyrics, sitting in the bed basement alone
Right.
and laughing out loud.
Harvey and Sheila Harvey.
And Glory Harry Lewis. He was trampling out where the drapes of wrath are stored.
Right.
He died while cutting velvet on the hot July the 4th. And his cloth goes marching on.
Oh, right. I forgot that one.
There were a lot. I would tell anybody wanting to raise a creative kid or even an interesting adult to leave blank spaces.
Yeah.
Don't regiment every minute of anybody's life, and if they get a weird interest, let them do it.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice for every relationship, right?
Pretty
you-
much.
Just kids.
Did you have to possibly turn down a gig to be here tonight? Because I know you work so much. I was wondering if you had a... No. I'm going over and doing the podcast.
It's a funny story.
Oh, yeah?
I got a call last week. There's apparently like a 30th retrospective of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, wow. And they wanted you?
They wanted me. They needed a harpist. I don't know why.
Wow.
But
And it was tonight?
It was all this week. It was rehearsals and things, but I had the thing that I was already booked for last
Right.
night, and I had you guys,
Right.
and I have been so busy.
Right.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
I want to do that,
Right.
and I want to do
It's
that.
good you can pick,
and I
you
have
know.
to have to prep the weekend,
Right,
And
yeah.
I've got a bunch of new music
Yeah.
they've asked for in the prelude on Saturday.
And you have children still? I mean, are they still
Oh, no,
living
they're
with
all
you?
grown up.
They're all gone.
But it's nice to be at a
The-
point where we could actually say no, you know.
That's
I
the
mean, I'm
best.
at that point, too.
And
could
I
say
would
no,
I
think
would
so.
rather do, and I gave them a list of people, and a colleague who lives in Queens
there you go.
is doing it.
Right.
And I was talking to the harp tech guys today when I dropped off my harp to get work done. I said, and so's doing the Wu-Tang Clan.
That's so out.
It's fun.
Well, okay.
It's fun. That is fine. I don't need every gig, and I
Yeah.
was looking forward to doing
Well, I'm
this.
so glad you came. And that will lead us to our outro here, our little coda. Thank you so much for coming, Claudia.
Yeah, it's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you for having me. I know I'm a horse of a different color.
Well, that's what's so great about
You're
it.
amazing. You're
But it's
amazing.
beautiful. You know, that's what's so great about doing this. We just hear everyone's story, and everyone's story is so unique, really.
We all
It's
come from
great.
different places.
And we all end up at Temple Bethel.
And we all end up on the same bandstand wisecracking.
I know. It's
Temple
really,
Beth, you is my woman.
That's right.
It's a good old joke.
Our Lady of Perpetual Motion.
Temple miserable.
Okay, so we like to say, may your gigs be plentiful.
And may your GPS never falter.
Right.
And may no one ever touch your harp strings.
Unless you want them to.
Or they will be sorry.
That's right. And so we say that
Thank
we are.
you, ladies. It's been a blast.
You're welcome. And we are the Gig Hoes. The Gig Hoes podcast is produced and recorded by Marla Joe and Willa Basson, also known as the Gig Hoes. Thanks to Jeremy Goldberg for opening voiceover.